The service entrance is around the back, maintenance boy. I don't know how you got past security, but this isn't your place. Sales agent Chelsea Martinez didn't even look up from her phone when Jamal Richardson walked into Pinnacle Realty's marble showroom. Her dismissive wave toward the rear exit hit like a slap. Jamal adjusted his polo shirt, 3 years of remote CEO work invisible to her assumptions. I'm here about Riverside Heights. Hey, this isn't the welfare office. Jamal's smile never wavered. Actually, I'm interested in Riverside Heights, the $2.2 million development. Chelsea's laugh came out like a hiccup. She slid a McDonald's job application across her pristine desk, the paper crinkling against marble. Sweetie, those homes need a $440,000 down payment. Maybe try this instead? Have you ever wondered what your own employees really think about people who look like you? Jamal's smartwatch buzzed silently against his wrist. Board meeting in 52 minutes. He'd planned this visit perfectly, enough time to test his own company before the quarterly review. I'm here about the Riverside Heights development, he said calmly. The $2.2 million homes. Chelsea finally looked up. Her eyes traveled from his polo shirt to his khakis, lingering on his dark skin like she was solving a puzzle. Honey, those properties require extensive financial verification. Maybe you want something more affordable? She slid a crumpled fast food coupon across the marble counter. There's a job fair downtown if you're looking for work. Behind the reception desk, sales manager Brad Patterson emerged from his office, drawn by the commotion. His pressed suit and company pin screamed authority. Chelsea, is everything okay here? This gentleman wants to see Riverside, Chelsea said, her voice dripping with barely concealed amusement. I explained our target demographic. Brad's corporate smile activated like a defense mechanism. Sir, those properties cater to established professionals, doctors, lawyers, business executives, people with proven income streams. Jamal nodded thoughtfully. What kind of income verification do you require? Well, it depends on the client, Brad said, his tone suggesting Jamal wasn't that kind of client. The irony wasn't lost on Jamal. His simple Patek Philippe watch cost more than most people's cars. His black American Express Centurion card could purchase half the development. His phone, currently buzzing with a Forbes interview confirmation, connected him to boardrooms across 3 continents. Yet here he stood, reduced to a McDonald's coupon. Young agent Maya Monroe sat at her desk 20 feet away, pretending to review listings while her Instagram Stories app recorded everything. Her followers were already commenting, "Is this really happening? In 2025? Someone needs to see this." Look, Brad continued, his patience wearing thin, I appreciate your interest, but Riverside Heights requires a different level of preparation. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable with our starter home partnerships? I'm prepared, Jamal said simply. Chelsea laughed, a sharp sound that echoed off the marble walls. Prepared with what? A McDonald's application? The discrimination felt familiar, like an old wound reopening. Jamal had built his first company at 24, sold it for $50 million by 30. He'd purchased a controlling stake in Pinnacle Realty 3 years ago, specifically because they'd rejected his internship application in 2009. The email had been polite but clear. While your qualifications are impressive, we feel you'd be a better fit elsewhere. Now he owns elsewhere. His phone buzzed again. This time he glanced at it, just long enough for the Bentley rental car app notification to flash across the screen. Maya's camera caught it perfectly. Sir, Brad's voice hardened, are you going to waste more of our time or should I call security? Security for what? Jamal asked. For being persistent about properties clearly outside your range. Maya's Instagram story viewer count hit 847. Comments flooded in faster than she could read them. Record everything! This is insane. Sue them! The story was being shared across multiple platforms, each repost amplifying the injustice. Board meeting in 28 minutes. You know what? Chelsea stood up, her chair scraping against polished concrete. Let me make this simple. These homes cost more than you'll make in a lifetime. The down payment alone is $440,000. That's nearly $500,000 in cash. She spoke slowly, like explaining mathematics to a child. Do you have $440,000? She asked. Jamal's smile never wavered. Do you always assume someone's net worth based on their appearance? Brad stepped closer, his corporate patience exhausted. Sir, I'm going to need you to leave. Voluntarily. Or what? Or I'll call security to escort you out. The threat hung in the air like humidity before a storm. 3 other agents had stopped their work to watch. Maya's followers climbed past 1,200, her phone hot in her hands as she live-streamed corporate discrimination in real time. A well-dressed white couple entered the showroom. Chelsea's demeanor transformed instantly, bright smile, welcoming posture, immediate attention. Good afternoon. How can I help you folks today? We're interested in Riverside Heights, the man said. Wonderful. Let me get you some coffee and we'll pull up the virtual tours. I can schedule a private showing for this afternoon. The contrast was surgical in its precision. No income verification, no questions about preparation, no McDonald's coupons, just immediate, respectful service. Jamal watched the performance with the detached interest of a scientist observing data. This wasn't personal anymore. It was evidence. His phone buzzed with another notification. This time he didn't hide it. The screen displayed his Pinnacle Realty Executive app, the interface only C-suite executives could access. Maya's camera caught the flash of corporate logos and executive dashboards. Her viewer count exploded past 2,300. What's that app? She whispered to herself, zooming in. Brad noticed Jamal's phone, too. Something about the interface looked familiar, but he couldn't place it. Sir, Brad said, his voice carrying new authority. I'm calling security now. He reached for his desk phone, fingers already dialing. Board meeting in 12 minutes. Jamal looked around the showroom, at Chelsea fawning over the white couple, at Brad dialing security, at Maya documenting everything, at the other agents pretending not to watch. His own company, his own employees, his own shameful legacy. Time to change that. He tapped his phone screen, opening the executive override function. The security guard's radio crackled to life. Unit 7 to the showroom, possible disturbance. Trevor Williams, 6'2" and built like a linebacker, pushed through the glass doors. His uniform bore the same corporate logo as everyone else's badges, Pinnacle Realty's stylized P gleaming under halogen lights. Maya's Instagram viewer count hit 5,000. Comments cascaded down her screen like digital rain. This is about to get ugly. Someone call a lawyer. Why is security here? She angled her phone carefully, keeping the camera focused on the unfolding drama while pretending to review property listings. Her hands trembled slightly from adrenaline. What's the situation? Trevor asked Brad, his hand resting casually on his radio. This individual is being persistent about properties outside his qualification range, Brad explained, his corporate speech barely masking his frustration. He won't accept our guidance about more appropriate options. Trevor sized up Jamal with professional efficiency. Clean clothes, good posture, expensive watch, he probably didn't notice. Still, protocol was protocol. He'd handled similar situations before, usually homeless people seeking shelter or confused individuals looking for social services. Sir, I'm going to need you to come with me, Trevor said. Where? Jamal asked. Outside. You're disrupting business operations. The white couple at Chelsea's desk paused their virtual tour to watch. Other clients entering the showroom slowed their steps, sensing tension. The pristine corporate environment felt suddenly charged, like air before lightning strikes. A well-dressed elderly woman entering the building stopped completely, pulling out her phone to record. Two teenagers waiting for their mother began live streaming on TikTok. The situation was multiplying across social platforms faster than anyone could control. Maya's followers climbed past 7,500. Someone had started a Twitter thread using #Pinnacle Discrimination. Screenshots from her livestream were already being shared on Facebook and LinkedIn. Branch manager Rebecca Brooks emerged from the elevator, drawn by the unusual crowd in her typically serene showroom. Her power suit and confident stride commanded immediate attention. She'd built her career on maintaining perfect corporate environments. "What's happening here?" she demanded, her voice cutting through the tension. Chelsea straightened up like a student caught cheating. "This gentleman wants to tour Riverside Heights, but he hasn't gone through proper qualification procedures." Rebecca's MBA-trained mind processed the scene quickly. Black man, security guard, gathering crowd, phones recording everywhere. This was either a lawsuit waiting to happen or a social media nightmare in progress. Possibly both. Her phone buzzed with a text from corporate headquarters. "Social media monitoring detected increased activity around your location. Status report needed ASAP." "Sir," Rebecca addressed Jamal with calculated corporate warmth, "surely you understand we have protocols. These homes start at $2.2 million. We need to ensure serious buyers receive appropriate attention." "I understand perfectly," Jamal replied. "Could you show me these protocols?" Rebecca's smile flickered. "They're internal guidelines, proprietary business processes." Internal to whom? The question hung in the air like smoke. Maya zoomed in on Rebecca's face, catching the micro-expression of uncertainty that crossed her features. Her viewers were commenting faster than she could read. "She's lying. No such protocols. This is discrimination." Board meeting in 8 minutes. Rebecca's phone buzzed again, this time from the regional director. "Trending on Twitter, #Pinnacle Discrimination, handle immediately, PR team monitoring." Her blood pressure spiked. Social media crises could destroy careers faster than market crashes. She'd seen promising executives terminated within hours of viral discrimination videos. "Look," she said, her corporate mask slipping slightly, "we serve a very specific clientele, high-net-worth individuals, business executives, people who understand the luxury real estate market dynamics." "What makes you think I don't understand it?" Jamal asked. Chelsea couldn't resist joining the conversation. "Honey, you walked in here looking like, well, like you need that job application more than a $2 million house." The showroom fell silent. Even the white couple stopped pretending not to listen. The elderly woman recording gasped audibly. The teenager's TikTok comments exploded with outrage. Maya's stream viewer count hit 12,000. The story was jumping between platforms, Instagram to Twitter to TikTok to Facebook, each share amplifying the injustice exponentially. Local housing blogger Marcus Reed, who'd been quietly working in the corner cafe area, lifted his phone and started his own live stream. "Y'all, I'm witnessing some next-level discrimination right now at Pinnacle Realty downtown. This is Marcus Reed with Real Estate Reality Check." 2 screens, 2 angles, 2 audiences merging into one viral moment. Marcus had 15,000 YouTube subscribers, and his content regularly reached real estate professionals nationwide. Rebecca's phone erupted with notifications. Her assistant was calling. The regional manager was texting. Corporate PR was demanding immediate situation reports. "Trevor," Rebecca said, her voice carrying new desperation disguised as authority, "please escort this gentleman out of the building." "Ma'am." Trevor hesitated. Something felt wrong. The man wasn't aggressive, wasn't causing actual disruption. He'd just asked to see houses. In his 5 years of security work, he'd learned to read people. This guy felt different. "Is that a problem?" Rebecca's tone sharpened. Trevor stepped closer to Jamal. "Sir, you need to leave now." Jamal didn't move. Under what legal authority? Trespassing. This is private property. Am I trespassing by requesting real estate services at a real estate office during business hours? The question hit like a legal landmine. Rebecca realized they were being recorded by multiple people from multiple angles, each video a potential deposition exhibit. Her corporate law training kicked in. Everything was evidence now. Maya's viewer count hit 15,000. Someone had posted the Instagram link on Reddit's Are You Public Freakout. The story was jumping platforms faster than Rebecca could track. Marcus Reed addressed his camera. Folks, I'm watching a black professional get threatened with arrest for asking to see houses in 2025. This is exactly why we need continued vigilance in real estate practices. Board meeting in 5 minutes. Sir, Rebecca tried one last diplomatic approach. Perhaps we can schedule an appointment for you to return when you've had time to prepare your financial documentation properly. What documentation do you require? Jamal asked. Rebecca paused. Truthfully, they usually ran basic credit checks during the initial consultation. For qualified buyers, not before showing properties. Pre-approval letters, bank statements, proof of income, asset verification, she improvised. How much proof of income? Substantial proof. Define substantial. Chelsea laughed nervously. Enough to buy a $2 million house, obviously. Jamal's phone buzzed. The Pinnacle Realty Executive app notification was visible for just a moment, but Maya's camera caught it perfectly. The distinctive interface, the corporate logos, the dashboard layout that only senior executives had access to. Marcus Reed noticed too. Hold up, he whispered into his live stream. Did y'all see that app on his phone? That looked like executive-level access. Something's not adding up here. Board meeting in 3 minutes. The irony was becoming too perfect to ignore. Jamal owned this building. He'd signed the lease agreement himself. His signature was literally on the insurance policies covering every person in this room. His decisions determined their employment. Trevor reached for Jamal's arm. Sir, let's go. Don't touch me, Jamal said quietly. The words carried weight that made Trevor pause. Not aggressive, not threatening, just authoritative. Like someone accustomed to being obeyed. Like someone who expected respect. Rebecca's phone erupted with notifications. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. The story was everywhere. Hashtag Pinnacle discrimination was trending nationally. Her career was dissolving in real time. Trevor, just escort him out, she snapped, panic creeping into her voice. But Jamal was already moving toward the conference room. Not to leave, to enter. Sir, Rebecca called after him, you can't go in there. Why not? That's for board meetings only. Maya's camera followed his movement. 18,000 viewers now watched a black man walk toward a conference room while security and management protested behind him. Board meeting in 2 minutes. Jamal stopped at the conference room door. His hand rested on the handle. Through the glass, 8 board members sat around a mahogany table, reviewing quarterly reports. His quarterly reports, from his company, about his decisions. Sir, Rebecca's voice was desperate now. You cannot enter that room. Jamal turned back to face the crowd, employees, clients, security, cameras, witnesses. Maya's phone captured his expression perfectly. Calm, determined, quietly powerful. Rebecca, he said, his voice carrying across the silent showroom. I need to ask you something important. She waited, her career hanging in the balance. How long have you worked here? 3 years. Do you know who owns this company? Rebecca's confidence faltered. Of course. Pinnacle Realty is publicly traded, but the majority shareholder is... She stopped. Her face went pale. The conference room door opened from the inside. Board meeting in 1 minute. Maya's viewer count hit 22,000. Marcus's stream had 8,000. Social media was exploding across every platform. Jamal smiled. Not triumphant, just satisfied. Richardson Holdings, he finished quietly. The majority shareholder is Richardson Holdings. The conference room door opened wider. 8 board members turned their heads as the conference room door opened. These were Pinnacle Realty's decision-makers, the regional directors, VPs, and senior partners who shaped company policy. Mr. Richardson? Board Chairman William Hayes stood up, confusion evident in his voice. You're early. We weren't expecting you for another... He stopped mid-sentence, seeing the crowd gathered outside the glass conference room. Security guards, employees, phones recording everything. Rebecca's face was drained of all color. The name hit her like a physical blow. Richardson. Jamal Richardson. Oh, God. Oh, no. Maya's camera captured the exact moment Rebecca realized her career had just ended. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. The confident branch manager who'd threatened to call security was now facing her own boss, her own CEO. Mr. Richardson, Hayes continued, oblivious to the drama unfolding, we have the quarterly reports ready for review. Should we postpone until you've handled whatever this situation is? Jamal stepped fully into the conference room, leaving the door open so everyone could hear. Maya adjusted her phone angle to capture both rooms, the corporate power brokers inside, the discrimination witnesses outside. 22,000 viewers and counting. Actually, William, this situation is exactly what we need to discuss, Jamal said calmly. Everyone, please remain seated. We're going to address some urgent business matters. He turned back toward the showroom, where Rebecca stood frozen. Trevor looked confused, and Chelsea had begun quietly crying at her desk. Rebecca, please join us. You too, Brad. Chelsea, Trevor, everyone involved in the last hour. Conference room, now. His voice carried the quiet authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed. No shouting, no dramatics, just calm corporate power. Maya's comment section exploded. Yo, he's the CEO! Plot twist of the century! They're all fired! This is better than Netflix, Marcus Reed whispered into his live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, we just witnessed the most incredible power reveal in real estate history. This black man they tried to humiliate is the CEO. The board members exchanged glances. Something was clearly wrong, but they couldn't process what exactly. Mr. Richardson, VP Sarah Morrison asked, should we clear the room for privacy? No, this needs to be public. To every word. Jamal opened his phone, accessing the Pinnacle Realty executive dashboard, the interface that only C-suite executives could see. Real-time sales data, employee metrics, branch performance statistics. He turned the screen toward Maya's camera. For everyone watching, he said, addressing the live stream directly, I'm Jamal Richardson, CEO and majority owner of Pinnacle Realty. I purchased controlling shares 3 years ago through Richardson Holdings. The showroom fell silent except for Chelsea's quiet sobbing. 3 years ago, I trusted my management team to operate with integrity, to serve all clients equally, to build a company I could be proud of. He pulled up the CRM system data on his phone. Instead, I discovered this. The numbers appeared on his screen, visible to Maya's camera and the 25,000 people now watching. In the past 12 months, this branch has served 2,847 potential clients. Of those, 1,923 were white, 924 were minorities. Care to guess the approval rates? Rebecca's hands shook. She knew these numbers. She'd signed off on the quarterly diversity reports. White clients, 89% received immediate consultation and property showings. Average time to show, 47 minutes. Minority clients, 34% received consultation. Average time to showing, never. Because 66% were rejected before qualification review. The board members started reaching for their phones, pulling up their own data access. This was news to them. Chelsea, Jamal's voice remained calm. How long did you spend determining my qualifications today? I didn't, she whispered. How long? Maybe 2 minutes? 2 minutes to determine I couldn't afford a $2.2 million home. Based on what criteria? Silence. Based on my appearance, my skin color, your assumptions. He turned to the board members who were now frantically scrolling through branch performance data. William, pull up the Fair Housing Act violation reports. Boom. Hayes's tablet displayed legal documents that made him visibly uncomfortable. 17 formal complaints filed against this branch in 12 months. Average settlement, $47,000 per case. Total legal costs, $823,000. Sarah, revenue impact analysis. Morrison's screen showed financial projections that made her wince. Lost potential revenue from discriminatory practices, $12.7 million annually. That's based on average home values and commission structures for rejected qualified buyers. The board was getting angry now, not at Jamal, but at the management team that had cost them millions while exposing the company to massive legal liability. Rebecca, Jamal continued, explain to the board your internal protocols for determining client qualifications. Rebecca's voice barely rose above a whisper. There are no written protocols. Louder, please, for the 30,000 people watching. Maya's viewer count had exploded as word spread across social media. Marcus Reed was providing live commentary to his 8,000 followers. The story was trending on every platform. There are no written protocols, Rebecca said louder. So your team makes qualification decisions based on personal judgment. Personal judgment about what? The trap was closing. Rebecca knew any answer would be career suicide. About client fit. Define client fit. Long pause. Ability to purchase. Based on what evidence? Another pause. Visual assessment. Of what? Rebecca was crying now. Appearance, clothing, general date, presentation. Race? Jamal asked quietly. No, we would never. Chelsea literally told me this wasn't the welfare office. She handed me a McDonald's job application. On camera. With 30,000 witnesses. He turned back to his phone, accessing employee disciplinary records. Brad, how many discrimination training sessions have you attended this year? The mandatory one in January, which you missed. According to HR records, you were marked absent. I was sick. You were golfing. Your social media posts show you at Riverside Country Club that day. The board members were furious now. This wasn't just discrimination. It was corporate negligence at the highest level. Trevor, Jamal addressed the security guard, what's the legal definition of trespassing? Trevor looked uncomfortable. Unauthorized presence on private property. Was I unauthorized? Well, you didn't have an appointment. Do walk-in clients require appointments? No, sir. So I had every legal right to be here? Yes, sir. Then why did you threaten to arrest me? Trevor glanced at Rebecca, then back at Jamal. Because my supervisor instructed me to. Your supervisor instructed you to threaten arrest of a potential client exercising his legal right to request real estate services? Yes, sir. Jamal turned to the board. Gentlemen, ladies, we have a systematic discrimination problem that's cost us millions in revenue and nearly $1 million in legal settlements. It's exposed us to federal civil rights violations, and it's now documented on social media with 35,000 witnesses. The board chairman cleared his throat. Mr. Richardson, what do you recommend? Immediate termination of all employees involved in today's discrimination, complete restructuring of branch management, implementation of the Richardson Accountability Protocol. What's that? Morrison asked. AI-powered bias detection in all client interactions, mandatory credit checks before any rejection, real-time monitoring of all employee-client communications, zero tolerance for discriminatory behavior. He pulled up a prepared presentation on his phone. I've been developing this system for 6 months, waiting for the right time to implement it. Today provided that time. The presentation showed detailed technological solutions. Voice analysis software that detected discriminatory language, CRM systems that required financial verification before rejection, dashboard monitoring that flagged unusual rejection patterns. Additionally, we're establishing a $50 million fund for first-time homebuyers in underserved communities. We're partnering with HBCUs to provide real estate education. And we're making our bias detection technology open source for the entire industry. Board member Patricia Williams raised her hand. What about the employees involved? Rebecca Brooks, terminated for violating corporate policy and federal anti-discrimination law. Chelsea Martinez, terminated for explicit discriminatory behavior captured on video. Brad Patterson, suspended pending investigation, mandatory sensitivity training, probationary status, and legal exposure? We're cooperating fully with any federal investigations. We're also suing ourselves. The board looked confused. I'm personally filing a discrimination lawsuit against Pinnacle Realty as a customer who was illegally denied service. Any settlement will fund the community investment program. It was a brilliant legal strategy. By suing his own company, Jamal created legal precedent while funding social programs. Maya's live stream had hit 40,000 viewers. Comments were moving too fast to read, but the sentiment was clear. This was the most incredible corporate justice story anyone had ever witnessed. Mr. Richardson, Hayes asked, how long have you been planning this? Jamal smiled. Since 2009, when Pinnacle rejected my internship application. The email said I'd be a better fit elsewhere. So I built Elsewhere. Then I bought it. 15-year revenge plan? 15-year improvement plan. This isn't about revenge, it's about proving that excellence has no color, but ignorance has a price. He stood up, addressing both the board and the camera. To everyone watching, this is what happens when you underestimate people based on appearances. Chelsea handed me a McDonald's application thinking I needed a job. I handed her a masterclass in what happens when assumptions meet reality. Rebecca was escorted out by security, not Trevor, but corporate security who'd arrived during the meeting. Chelsea had already left, her career in real estate effectively over. The conference room buzzed with activity as board members implemented immediate changes. Maya ended her live stream with 47,000 viewers and a story that would be shared millions of times. The transformation had begun. The conference room had transformed into a war room. 8 board members huddled around tablets and laptops, pulling data that painted an increasingly disturbing picture of systematic discrimination across multiple Pinnacle branches. This isn't isolated to one location, VP Sarah Morrison announced, her voice tight with concern. I'm seeing similar patterns in Atlanta, Charlotte, and Dallas. Board Chairman William Hayes looked sick. How did we miss this? Because we trusted regional management to handle diversity metrics, Jamal replied. And regional management trusted branch managers to self-report accurate numbers. He pulled up a comprehensive analysis on the main conference screen. Maya had ended her live stream, but Marcus Reed was still broadcasting to his real estate industry followers, capturing every moment of corporate accountability in action. Here's what we're really dealing with, Jamal said. Slide 1, Financial Impact. Lost revenue from discrimination, $47.3 million annually across all branches. Legal settlement costs, $3.2 million in past 18 months. Reputation management expenses, $1.8 million yearly. Federal investigation costs, $890,000 projected. We're not just talking about moral failures, Jamal continued. We're talking about business failures that have cost shareholders nearly $53 million. Board member Patricia Williams whistled low. The shareholders are going to demand heads. They should, starting with mine if I can't fix this systematically. Slide 2. Legal exposure. Fair Housing Act violations. 127 documented cases. Department of Justice investigation. Active in 6 states. Class action lawsuit potential. $200 million exposure. State licensing board reviews. 23 branches under investigation. Dr. Elizabeth Warren from Harvard Law consulted on this analysis, Jamal explained. She estimates our total legal exposure at $200 million if current practices continue. Hayes leaned forward. What's the immediate action plan? Jamal switched to his prepared presentation. This wasn't improvised. He'd been developing comprehensive reform strategies for months. Slide 3. The Richardson Protocol. Phase 1. Immediate implementation. Next 72 hours. Technology deployment. Technology. AI bias detection software installed on all CRM systems. Voice analysis algorithms. Monitoring client phone calls. Facial recognition software tracking employee microexpressions during client interactions. Real-time dashboard alerting corporate when rejection rates exceed statistical norms. Every rejection will trigger automatic review. Every client interaction will be analyzed for discriminatory language patterns. Personnel actions. Immediate termination. 23 employees across 6 branches for documented discrimination. Mandatory retraining. 347 employees. Failing bias detection assessments. New hiring protocol. Diverse interview panels required for all positions. Performance metrics. 50% of manager evaluations based on diversity and inclusion success. Morrison raised her hand. What about union challenges to the terminations? I've consulted with employment law specialists. Discrimination is cause for immediate termination under federal law. No union protection applies. Slide 4. Financial restructuring. The Richardson Community Investment Fund. $75 million initial commitment. First-time homebuyer. Assistance, $25 million for down payment support in underserved communities. Educational partnerships, $15 million for HBCU real estate programs. Legal defense fund, $10 million for discrimination victims. Technology development, $25 million for open-source bias detection tools. We're not just fixing our company, we're fixing the industry. Board member James Brooks looked skeptical. $75 million is significant. What's the ROI? Jamal smiled. Conservative projections show $200 million revenue increase over 5 years from expanded market access. We've been systematically excluding qualified buyers. Inclusion is profitable. Slide 5. Regulatory compliance. Monthly bias audits by independent third-party firms. Quarterly reports to Department of Justice, annual congressional testimony on industry discrimination practices, real-time public dashboard showing diversity metrics, full transparency, every rejection, every approval, every demographic breakdown, publicly accessible. Hayes looked uncomfortable. That's unprecedented industry transparency. Good. We're setting the new industry standard. Slide 6. Accountability measures. The 3-strike protocol. Strike 1. Bias detection alert. Triggers mandatory retraining and 30-day probation. Strike 2. Suspension without pay and formal discrimination investigation. Strike 3. Immediate termination and report to state licensing boards. Zero tolerance means zero tolerance. Marcus Reed provided live commentary to his followers. Ladies and gentlemen, we're watching the most comprehensive corporate discrimination reform in real estate history. This isn't just policy change, it's industry transformation. Patricia Williams pulled up market analysis data. Jamal, what about competitive concerns? If we're more transparent than competitors, couldn't that hurt our market position? Look at the current market position data. Slide 7. Market analysis. Pinnacle's market share in diverse communities, 12%. Competitor average in same communities, 34%. Untapped market potential, $2.3 billion annually. Projected market share with inclusive practices, 67%. We're not losing competitive advantage, we're gaining it. Discrimination has been bad for business. The board members exchanged glances. The numbers were undeniable. What about the implementation timeline? Morrison asked. Slide 8, implementation timeline. Week 1, technology deployment and immediate personnel actions. Week 2, employee retraining begins across all branches. Week 3, new hiring protocols and community partnerships launch. Month 2, independent bias audits begin. Month 3, public transparency dashboard goes live. Month 6, first community investment fund disbursements. Year 1, industry-wide adoption of Richardson Protocol standards. Aggressive timeline, but necessary. Every day we delay costs, money, and credibility. Hayes stood up. We need a board vote on this. All in favor of immediate implementation of the Richardson Protocol? 8 hands raised unanimously. Motion carries. Jamal, you have full board support and unlimited resources. But Jamal wasn't finished. Slide 9, personal accountability. I'm also implementing personal consequences for my leadership failures. The room fell silent. I've been CEO for 3 years. This discrimination happened under my watch. While I was working remotely, trusting management, people were being systematically excluded from the American dream. He pulled up his personal compensation data. I'm donating my entire CEO salary for the next 2 years, $3.4 million, to the Community Investment Fund. I'm also reducing my equity stake from 67% to 51%, with the remaining 16% going to an employee ownership program prioritizing underrepresented groups. Jamal, Hayes protested, that's unnecessary. It's completely necessary. Leadership means accountability. I failed these communities. I'm making it right. Slide 10. Industry transformation. But we're not stopping with Pinnacle. I'm calling on every major real estate firm to adopt these standards. He displayed contact information for media outlets, industry publications, and regulatory agencies. I'm testifying before Congress next month about discrimination in real estate. I'm sharing our bias detection technology as open-source software. I'm challenging every CEO in this industry to match our transparency standards. Morrison looked concerned. Aren't we giving away competitive advantages? We're creating competitive advantages. The first movers in ethical business practices always win long-term. Slide 11. Slide. Measurable outcomes. Success metrics for year 1. 0 discrimination complaints filed. 40% increase in diverse homeownership facilitated $200 million revenue increase from expanded market access. Industry adoption of Richardson Protocol by minimum 20 major firms. Federal legislation incorporating our transparency standards. These aren't aspirational goals. They're contractual commitments. Hayes looked impressed and slightly overwhelmed. This is the most comprehensive corporate reform package I've seen in 30 years. It has to be. Half measures don't fix systematic problems. The conference room buzzed with activity as board members began implementing immediate changes. Phone calls to branch managers, emergency meetings with legal teams, press releases being drafted. Slide 12. The bigger picture. This isn't just about real estate. It's about proving that Black excellence can transform entire industries. That facing discrimination with systematic solutions creates more change than facing it with anger. Jamal looked directly at Marcus Reed's camera, knowing thousands of real estate professionals were watching. To every person who's ever been underestimated, dismissed, or discriminated against, your response matters. Build something so successful they can't ignore you. Then use that success to lift others. The presentation ended with contact information for reporting discrimination and accessing the Community Investment Fund. Patricia Williams stood up. Jamal, this is remarkable work. How long have you been planning this level of reform? since the day they rejected my internship application. 15 years of preparation for this moment. And if other companies refuse to adopt these standards? Jamal smiled. Then we'll have competitive advantages that make us the industry leader. Excellence is its own reward. Hayes closed his laptop. The meeting was adjourned. Implementation begins immediately. As board members filed out to begin the most comprehensive corporate transformation in real estate history, Jamal remained in the conference room, looking out at the showroom where his journey had begun just 2 hours earlier. From McDonald's application to industry transformation. The Richardson Protocol was about to change everything. 72 hours later, Maya Monroe sat in the same conference room where corporate justice had unfolded, but everything had changed. The young agent who'd live-streamed discrimination was now Director of Community Relations. Her salary doubled, equity shares granted. The response has been unprecedented, she reported to Jamal and the implementation team. 47 million views across all platforms, 12,000 job applications from diverse candidates, 340 real estate firms requesting Richardson Protocol licensing. The viral video had become a case study in corporate accountability. Harvard Business School, Stanford, and Wharton were already developing curricula around the incident. Marcus Reed, now serving as industry transparency consultant, pulled up social media analytics. The hashtag #Richardson Protocol is trending in real estate circles globally. We're getting implementation requests from Canada, UK, and Australia. Immediate results. The AI bias detection system had been deployed across all 47 Pinnacle branches. In 72 hours, it had flagged 23 discriminatory interactions, leading to immediate interventions and retraining. Technology impact data. Bias incidents detected. 23. Prevented before client harm. Employee retraining triggered. 156 staff members. Rejected applications reviewed. 847, 67% found to be improperly denied. Revenue recovered from proper client service, $2.3 million in first week. Dr. Sarah Kim, the MIT professor who designed the AI system, presented implementation statistics. The voice analysis algorithm detected discriminatory language patterns with 94.7% accuracy. Facial recognition software identified unconscious bias expressions in 89% of flagged interactions. Personnel transformations. Rebecca Brooks's termination had sent shockwaves through the industry. Her LinkedIn was flooded with criticism, her real estate license under state investigation. She'd issued a public apology video that received 2.7 million dislikes and became a case study in corporate accountability consequences. Chelsea Martinez had quietly left the real estate industry entirely. Her viral moment of handing Jamal a McDonald's application became internet folklore, shared millions of times as an example of assumption-based discrimination. Trevor Williams, the security guard, had been retained after sensitivity training. His honesty during the confrontation and willingness to acknowledge mistakes earned him a promotion to head of security for inclusive client services. Community impact. The $75 million Richardson Community Investment Fund was already changing lives. In 3 days, 47 first-time homebuyer applications approved for down payment assistance. 12 HBCU partnerships established for real estate education programs. 156 discrimination victims connected with legal support. 23 community development projects funded in underserved neighborhoods. Jamal reviewed the fund's first success story. Maria Rodriguez, a nurse in Dallas, was rejected by 3 real estate firms before finding us. She's now closing on a $340,000 home with fund assistance. Her down payment was approved in 24 hours. Industry ripple effects. The transformation extended far beyond Pinnacle. Competitor firms were scrambling to implement similar protocols, fearing public backlash and talent flight. Keller Williams announced mandatory bias training for all agents. R.E. Max committed $50 million to diversity initiatives. Coldwell Banker hired external auditors for discrimination reviews. Century 21 adopted real-time client interaction monitoring. We've created an industry arms race for inclusion, Jamal noted with satisfaction. Media and legal outcomes. The Department of Justice had fast-tracked their investigation, using Pinnacle's transparency as a cooperation model. Attorney General statements praised the Richardson Protocol as exemplary corporate accountability. Major media coverage included 60 Minutes feature on corporate discrimination solutions, Wall Street Journal front-page analysis of business benefits, Harvard Business Review case study on ethical leadership. Forbes cover story, the CEO who bought his company to fix it. Employee empowerment. The three-strike bias protocol had transformed workplace culture. Employees now reported feeling empowered to serve all clients equally, knowing technology and management supported inclusive practices. "I've never felt more confident helping every client," said Agent Jennifer Park. "The AI system provides real-time coaching if I'm unconsciously showing bias. It's made me a better professional." Exit interviews with terminated employees revealed eye-opening perspectives. Many admitted they hadn't realized their behavior was discriminatory, highlighting the need for systematic rather than individual solutions. Financial validation. The business case for inclusion was proving itself rapidly. Week 1. Results. Revenue increase, 23% from previously underserved communities. Client satisfaction scores, up 34% across all demographics. Employee retention, 97%, highest in company history. Stock price, up 45% on discrimination reform news. Inclusion isn't just morally right, CFO Patricia Williams announced. It's the most profitable strategy we've ever implemented. Legislative influence. Congressional hearings were scheduled for next month, with Jamal testifying on federal discrimination reform. Early legislative proposals included mandatory bias detection technology for firms over $10 million revenue, public transparency requirements for rejection rate demographics, federal funding for community investment programs, tax incentives for companies adopting Richardson Protocol standards. Educational impact. Universities were integrating the case study into business ethics curricula. Students analyzed the decision tree that led from personal discrimination to systematic reform. "This will be taught in business schools for decades," predicted Dr. Michael Brooks from Stanford Graduate School of Business. "It's a masterclass in transforming crisis into industry leadership." The personal transformation. For Jamal, the most meaningful change was internal. The 15-year journey from rejected intern to industry transformer had culminated in systematic change that would outlast his tenure. "I'm not the same person who applied for that internship," he reflected, "but I'm exactly who that young man needed to become." The Richardson Protocol had become bigger than Pinnacle Realty. It was becoming the new industry standard. And it all started with a McDonald's application and the quiet determination to prove that excellence has no color. 6 months later, the Pinnacle Realty showroom looked identical, but everything had changed. Where Chelsea's desk once sat, a digital display showed real-time diversity metrics, transparent data that had become the industry gold standard. Every person, every dream, every opportunity was now etched in marble above the reception area. Jamal walked through the same glass doors where his journey began, but this time as a guest speaker for the National Association of Realtors annual convention. The Morning News had just announced that 67 major real estate firms had adopted Richardson Protocol standards. The transformation had rippled beyond imagination. The legacy numbers. Maya, now promoted to VP of Innovation, presented the 6-month impact report. 0 discrimination complaints filed across all Pinnacle branches. 340% increase in diverse home ownership facilitated $47 million revenue increase from expanded market access. 23 states implementing Richardson Protocol. Transparency requirements. 156 real estate firms using open-source bias detection technology. The McDonald's application that started it all was now framed in the corporate headquarters lobby, not as a trophy, but as a reminder that assumptions destroy opportunities. The human impact. Real-life stories emerged daily. James Washington, a teacher from Birmingham, purchased his first home after being rejected by 5 other firms. Dr. Patricia Rivera, a surgeon, found her dream house when Pinnacle's AI system overruled human bias. These weren't just statistics. They were touching stories of lives changed through systematic inclusion. The industry transformation. The Richardson Protocol had become synonymous with ethical business practices. Harvard Business School established the annual Richardson Award for Corporate Accountability. The White House invited Jamal to lead a federal task force on business discrimination. 3 competitors had tried to poach him with $200 million offers. He declined each one. "I didn't build this to sell," he explained. "I built it to scale." The personal revelation. Standing in the same showroom where he'd been humiliated, Jamal reflected on the journey. From maintenance boy assumptions to industry transformers, the arc felt impossible, yet here it was. "Excellence doesn't need permission," he said during his TEDx talk, which garnered 12 million views. "It just needs persistence and the right platform." The bigger purpose. The Richardson Foundation now operates in 23 states, funding first-time homebuyer programs and supporting Black soul stories of entrepreneurial success. Each story proved that underestimation could become motivation for systematic change. These were real-life stories of quiet power overcoming loud prejudice. The continuing mission. Jamal's next project involved healthcare discrimination, then education access, then criminal justice reform. The Richardson Protocol methodology was being adapted across industries. "This was never about real estate," he revealed. "It was about proving that one person's systematic response to discrimination can transform entire systems." The call to action. That same McDonald's application now traveled with Jamal to every speaking engagement, a symbol that today's humiliation could become tomorrow's transformation. "They handed me what they thought was my limitation," he would tell the audience. "I handed them back a blueprint for their evolution." Your story matters. Have you experienced workplace discrimination? Share your story in the comments below. Your voice can spark the next systematic change. These Black soul stories prove that excellence always finds a way. Hit subscribe to Black Soul Stories for more real-life stories of quiet power transforming loud systems. Because sometimes the best response to "you don't belong here" is building a place where everyone does. Subscribe now. Share this story. Change the conversation. Because every touching story of transformation starts with someone brave enough to prove them wrong.